Those of you that have been in the channel for a while may have seen my Acrobat video I did about a year ago. Well, it's time to redo that video because it got remastered. And I know those videos do quite well, so let's get into the Acrobat archetype. Let's start with the Acrobat dedication, which is already insane. Just by taking this dedication, you instantly become an expert in acrobatics. Just flat out. Level 2 is the earliest you can become an expert in acrobatics, so this is huge. And at level 7, you become a master, which is, again, as early as you can be a master in any skill. And at level 15, you become legendary, which again is the earliest you can be legendary in a skill. You gain 3 free skill increases just from taking this archetype. Granted, they all have to be acrobatics, but at least you're able to pick other skills for your skill increases as you level up. You don't even have to pick acrobatics 3 times. And the best part about this dedication is when you use the tumble through action, you don't count the enemy's squares as difficult terrain. You can just move through an enemy space at your full speed, which is already insane. Don't get used to this though. Not all archetypes are like this. Some archetypes are actually pretty bad. I'm looking at you, Assassin. At level 4, you can take Contortionist. This gives you the quick squeeze skill feat, allowing you to squeeze 5 feet per round. And if you're a master in acrobatics, you can squeeze at your full speed. Also, if you successfully escape from a creature using the acrobatics skill, the creature that you escaped from is off guard against your next attack that you make against it before the end of your next turn. Unfortunately, the escape action does have the attack trait, so if you try to use an attack right away after escaping, you are going to take a -5 or probably a -4 if you're using an agile weapon. But this is until the end of your next turn. So you can escape from someone, then attack them on their next turn with them being off guard and take no multiple attack penalty. But if you try to use this feat and then attack right away, they are going to be off guard, which is a -2, but you're also going to be taking a -5 because multiple attack penalty. So you do have to use a little bit of strategy with this. But if you're something like a rogue or really any class, this can help a lot. Unfortunately, they're only off guard against you, nobody else. It does allow you to do sneak attack if you're something like a rogue, which is pretty nice. Especially once you get to level 9, you can take debilitating strike. At level 6, we've got dodge away. So, if you're the target of a melee attack, and you're aware of it and aren't off guard, then you can use a reaction to get a +1 bonus to your AC against that attack. If that attack misses you, you can step immediately after the strike. Also, if you're a master in acrobatics, you can step 10 feet rather than 5. This one is very useful for spellcasters, as effectively you get a +1 to your AC, which does stack with something like Mystic Armor, and if they miss you, you just get a free step. And if you're a master in acrobatics, you get essentially a free elf step, no matter what ancestor you are. And elf step is a 9th level elf feat, and you can pick this up at level 6. It's also really good for any character that is a master in acrobatics and has good dex. You are using your reaction to do this, but the classes that can take the most advantage of this really don't care about reaction, especially spellcasters. Okay, then we come to level 7. If you're a master in acrobatics, you can take the Graceful Leaper skill feat if you have the acrobat dedication. Now we can roll acrobatics rather than athletics to jump, specifically to high jump or long jump. This is a huge deal for something like a monk, a dex-based monk, especially with some of the new monk feats. Jumping can be very effective in and out of combat, and being able to use your dex rather than your strength is a big deal. We're almost done. We got 2 more feats. This archetype is actually pretty short. Some of them are quite a bit longer though. So our first feat at level 8 is Tumbling Strike. We can make an acrobatics check against the reflex DC of one enemy that is adjacent to us. For one action, we effectively move through an enemy's space, and we don't trigger reactions from this movement. Also, when we're done tumbling through, we get to make a strike against that enemy. And if we critically succeeded on the acrobatics check, they are also off guard against the strike. If they regularly succeed, we just get to make the strike. They're not off guard. If we fail on the acrobatics check, we remain in our same spot, but we can still make the strike. If we critically fail, nothing happens. We just don't get to do anything for that action anyway. Unfortunately, this does not count as tumble through. Which means swashbucklers won't get much use out of this feat, and neither will rogues. However, other melee attackers can use this quite effectively, especially against enemies that are big in small areas. Although rogues can get more out of this than swashbucklers, because if they critically succeed, then the foe is still off guard. It can be very effective for other dex-based martials, as they are off guard if you critically succeed. But remember, you don't get the penalties for critically failing on this, because it's not tumble through, so you don't become off guard. Overall, it depends on what you're playing if this feat will be effective for you or not. And the last feat I want to cover in this video is probably the best feat in the entire Acrobat archetype, and that is Tumbling Opportunist. Once per minute, if your last action was tumble through or tumbling strike, and you successfully move through that enemy's space, as a free action, you can trip that opponent. And you get to use acrobatics rather than athletics for this feat. So who needs a big strong guy when you have Circus Man, basically? And remember, tripping makes them prone, which means they're off guard to everyone, not just you. And because you need the acrobatic dedication, you're automatically going to be a master in acrobatics. And tripping does go off their reflex DC. So unless they're like another acrobat or something, then you stand a pretty good chance of tripping them. Tripping is one of the best things you can do to debuff an enemy if you're a martial, and doing it with dex rather than strength means a lot more characters can do it. And that's the Acrobat archetype done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This one was pretty short, but some archetypes are quite a bit longer than this. Particularly an archetype called the Rustler, which I will get to much later on. I'm probably going to go in order of what's going to be effective for my builds, or when I talk about skills. But if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like, and subscribe to the channel for more Pathfinder 2e teamwork content. You can, of course, also check out my Discord and my social media in the description below, including my Patreon, especially if you want path builders for my builds. And don't forget to check out TPG Starfinder if you're interested in Starfinder content. If you guys are interested in the last build I did on this channel, you can check out this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, teamwork is vital. It helps us solve problems.